April 15th, 2025. Two RAF Typhoon jets scramble from Poland. Target: Russian spy planes probing NATO airspace. The British pilots intercept, identify, and send Moscow's aircraft running. Same day, hours later, two more Russian fighters try again. RAF Typhoon scramble. Again, April 17th, Russia tries a third time. RAF Typhoons. Again, 3 intercepts, 3 days, 0 successful Russian reconnaissance missions. Now here's the kicker. Britain's army is down to just 70,000 troops, smaller than the New York Police Department. Equipment shortages everywhere, budget crises, personnel hemorrhaging. But Russia keeps testing Britain's air defenses. Why? Because while Britain's ground forces are struggling, the RAF is flying F-35 stealth fighters that Russian radar can barely detect, Typhoons that intercept everything Moscow sends, and, as of June 2025, nuclear-capable aircraft for the first time since the Cold War. Today you're going to discover why Russia would rather fight Britain's army than face the RAF, because in the air, Britain is terrifying. Let's start with what happened in April 2025. Because those 3 intercepts in 3 days, that's not unusual, that's routine. April 15th, 2025. RAF Typhoons stationed at Malbork Air Base, Poland, scrambled twice in 1 day under NATO tasking. First scramble, Ilyushin Il-20M Kut A, Russia's flying spy platform loaded with signals intelligence equipment, departing Kaliningrad airspace. RAF Typhoons. We see you. Intercept, identify, shadow. Second scramble, same day, 2 Su-30MK, I flanker H fighters, air superiority aircraft, also leaving Kaliningrad. RAF response, immediate, intercept both. April 17th, another Il-20M approaches NATO airspace over the Baltic Sea. RAF Typhoons scramble for the 3rd time in 3 days. Intercept, identify, send it packing. This isn't a fluke. RAF Typhoons intercept Russian aircraft constantly. NATO recorded over 400 intercepts of Russian aircraft in 2022 alone, with Britain contributing significantly. Because those Il-20M spy planes aren't joyriding, they're gathering signals intelligence, mapping NATO air defenses, testing response times, recording electronic signatures. Every time they fly, they're asking, how fast can NATO respond? What routes are monitored? Where are the gaps? And every time the RAF answers, everywhere, immediately, there are no gaps. Britain's Typhoons operating from Malbork are part of Operation Chessman, the UK's contribution to NATO's enhanced air policing mission. These aren't ceremonial patrols. These are quick reaction alert aircraft on 24/7 standby. Pilots sitting in cockpits, engines ready, able to scramble in minutes. And here's what makes RAF Typhoons so effective. The FGR-4 variant features Captor M radar, Pirate infrared search and track, beyond visual range AMRAAM missiles, and the ability to supercruise, fly faster than Mach 2 without afterburners. Russian aircraft approaching NATO airspace aren't facing outdated interceptors. They're facing some of the most advanced multi-role fighters on Earth. So Russia can't sneak reconnaissance aircraft near NATO without the RAF showing up immediately. But interceptions are just air policing. Let's talk about what Britain's air power can actually do in combat, because that's where Russia's real nightmare begins. While RAF Typhoons handle air policing, Britain's got something else in the inventory that makes Russian air defense commanders genuinely nervous. F-35, Lightning II stealth fighters. Britain currently operates 33 F-35B fighters, with 48 total contracted. These aircraft achieved full operational capability by December 31st, 2025. The F-35B variant is special. It's the short takeoff and vertical landing version designed to operate from Britain's Queen Elizabeth-class aircraft carriers. No catapults needed, no arrestor wires, just pure versatility. But here's why Russia fears these jets. Stealth design that minimizes radar cross-section, Russian air defense systems that were built to track conventional fighters. F-35s appear as tiny blips, if they appear at all. Sensor fusion combines data from multiple sensors to create a comprehensive battlefield picture. The pilot sees everything. Enemy sea ghosts and network-centric warfare capabilities mean F-35s share data instantly with Typhoons, ships, ground forces, creating a unified combat picture Russia can't match. For air combat, AIM-120, AIM-Ray AM, and AIM-9X, Sidewinder missiles. For ground attack, precision-guided bombs like GBU-31, JDAM, and GBU-12 Paveway 2. Internal 25mm cannon for close engagements. Operational range 900 nautical miles on internal fuel, extendable with aerial refueling. And here's what keeps Russian naval planners awake. Those F-35Bs fly off HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales, 65,000-ton aircraft carriers that can position anywhere in the world. Russia has to defend against land-based NATO aircraft. Britain can launch stealth fighters from carriers in the North Atlantic, Mediterranean, Indian Ocean, South China Sea, wherever they're needed. But wait, it gets better, or worse, if you're Russia. June 2nd, 2025. Prime Minister Keir Starmer announces Britain will acquire 12 F-35A fighters, the conventional takeoff variant. Why does this matter? Because F-35s are certified to carry the B-6112 nuclear gravity bomb. Translation: for the first time since 1998, the RAF will have airborne nuclear delivery capability. Britain's rejoining NATO's tactical nuclear mission. Russian military doctrine assumes NATO's nuclear deterrent is American-controlled, potentially subject to political hesitation. Now Britain, a nation that already has its own strategic nuclear deterrent via Trident submarines, is adding tactical nuclear capability that it can deploy independently through NATO. Russia can't assume delays or debates. British F-35s carrying B-61s? That's a threat Moscow has to account for in every scenario. And then there's Spear 3, Britain's secret weapon for destroying Russian air defense. MBDA's Spear 3 missile was designed specifically for the F-35 sensor suite. It can destroy Russian air defense targets from safe standoff ranges even when those targets have stopped transmitting and are repositioning. Think about that. Russian S-400 batteries can turn off their radars to avoid anti-radiation missiles. Spear 3 doesn't care. It uses F-35 sensor fusion to track targets optically and through data linking. It's almost the ideal weapon to let UK F-35s address the core challenge preventing NATO from gaining air superiority over Russian forces, destroying their air defense network. So Russia faces stealth fighters they can barely detect, nuclear-capable aircraft they have to assume are armed, and precision missiles designed specifically to kill their air defenses. But Britain's air power isn't just about fancy jets. It's about a military culture that Russia fundamentally doesn't understand. Alright, reality check time. Because Britain's air power has a serious problem. They don't have enough pilots. As of late 2022, Britain had only 30 qualified F-35 pilots, plus 3 exchange pilots from the US and Australia. By February 2023, that grew to 34 UK pilots, with 7 more completing training by August. But in 2025, the National Audit Office reported a consistent shortage of pilots remains, along with shortages of F-35 engineers. The average wait time for RAF trainee Typhoon and F-35 pilots after completing basic training was 11 to 12 months. Plus a 68-week gap between basic flying training and advanced fast jet training. Translation: Britain is training pilots slower than it needs them. And then there's the money problem. The MOD more than tripled its F-35 whole life cost estimate to £57 billion through 2069, excluding personnel, fuel, and infrastructure. That's just for the F-35 program, not the entire RAF, just F-35S. But here's the most embarrassing shortfall. Britain's F-35BS currently only have Paveway 4 freefall bombs for ground attack. No other F-35 operator has such constrained air-to-ground weapons. America, Israel, Norway, they all have multiple standoff weapons integrated. Britain, just Paveway 4, which requires flying close to targets. Against high-end Russian air defense systems, that's suicidal. You're negating the F-35 stealth advantage by forcing it within range of enemy missiles. Spear 3 was supposed to fix this, but delays, high cost per weapon, and industry disagreements pushed entry to service into the early 2030s. And the Typhoon fleet. Britain retired all Tranche 1 aircraft by 2025, except 4 in the Falklands. The remaining fleet stays until 2040, but that's still a reduction in overall numbers. Oh, and Britain's currently without airborne early warning aircraft. The E-3D Sentry was retired in 2021. Its replacement, the E-7 Wedgetail, was supposed to enter service in 2023. It's now late 2025, still not operational, and the fleet size was cut from 5 to 3 aircraft. Britain's fighting without eyes in the sky. With all these problems, pilot shortages, cost overruns, weapons gaps, missing AWACS, why does Russia fear British air power? Because despite everything, the RAF still operates. 33 plus F-35 stealth fighters, over 100 Typhoons, advanced training and professionalism, NATO integration carrier strike capability, and most importantly, operational experience. Russia has quantity, lots of aircraft, lots of pilots, but training quality is inconsistent, maintenance is poor, combat experience is limited to Syria and Ukraine, where they faced minimal air opposition. Britain has fewer aircraft but better pilots. Every RAF pilot goes through rigorous training, constant NATO exercises, integration with American, French, German forces. When RAF Typhoons scramble to intercept Russian aircraft, those British pilots have hundreds of hours training against peer adversaries in realistic scenarios. Russian pilots? Many have never faced a near-peer opponent. So Britain's air power has real problems. But Russia's looking at the capability, not the problems. And the capability is what keeps Moscow's aircraft out of NATO airspace. If this deep dive into British air power revealed capabilities you didn't know existed, or problems you didn't know were that bad, hit that subscribe button. We're covering UK versus Russia confrontations with the detail and nuance mainstream media won't touch. Drop a comment. Do you think Britain's pilot shortages will eventually catch up with them? Or is quality more important than quantity in modern air warfare? And here's the debate starter. Should Britain invest more in F-35s or focus on fixing the pilot shortage first? You can't have advanced jets without trained pilots to fly them. Thanks for watching. Next video, we're breaking down why Russia's submarine force is failing against NATO and why Britain's Type 26 frigates are the reason Moscow's admirals are panicking. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you next time on the Strategic Horizon.